Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. David Orman, and you're listening to this week's podcast of Dr. Orman's Lifecast Show. Today is August 12th, and the topic is forgiveness, one of the most challenging, difficult, did I mention difficult? Situations, emotions that a person has to experience. And what I have noticed is that it is one of the most common ones that has come up over the last 3 or 4 years. And it's almost as if, in fact, this 3 year or so time period has been very peculiar in that it feels artificially sped up. In other words, the pace of life was normally 55, 60 miles an hour. Sometimes we would hit 70, but now it feels like it's 110 and it isn't natural. In other words, the ebb and flow of things have been, as I said, artificially sped up. And I think part of that has made it so difficult for people to deal with things which are already difficult to deal with. One of them being forgiveness. And that is one common thing that I hear among patients. I'm finding it difficult to forgive such and such a person for their actions, for their lack of actions, etc. And it's understandable. On the surface, it appears to be not fair. They did this to me, and now I am responsible for forgiving them. Something seems out of balance. They are the ones that should be doing this. They are the ones who should be doing that. And in fact, most of the time, whoever they are, don't do it. They'll just walk away, wash their hands, what have you. And we are left with this pile of emotion, this raging emotion that feels a mixture of hurt and anger and frustration and righteousness and a whole bunch of other things. But at the end of the day, we are left with this energy that we need to deal with. Whether it was fair or not now becomes irrelevant. We have taken ownership of it, whether consciously or otherwise. And now what do I do with it? Because if I don't do something with it, it is affecting my system. It lowers the immune system. It weakens and irritates and causes stagnation of the liver, which itself causes a slew of problems, anything from anger, frustration, depression, visual problems, digestive problems, joint problems. Whenever there is pain, anywhere, there is liver involvement. And whenever there's liver involvement, there's physical as well as emotional, psychological pain. So it's a circular aspect of it. And part of not dealing with forgiveness is it exacerbates these issues. So there are a lot of ways to deal with forgiveness, and none of them are easy, and at least one of them that I've come across is quite effective. Not easy, but very effective. And my wife and I did this a couple of nights ago, and it was more difficult than expected. And honestly, I expected it to be difficult, but it was also more powerful than I expected. And what we did is get a bunch of index cards and get a metal container, either a trash can or just some sort of metal container, or a bunch of rocks. And what we would do is on an index card, we would write the person's name, or we'd write their initials, or we would write a number or a symbol, something that represented someone who we feel that has harmed us, and never apologized, never acknowledged it, just washed their hands and walked away. And we were left with all this garbage, all this emotional garbage, all this emotional energy. So we write their name and we allow the feelings to come up. And if we want to express things out loud, this was the situation, this is how I feel about it, et cetera, et cetera. And then when we feel we can let it go, we basically light the index card on fire and put it in the safe metal container and watch it burn away. And it's kind of interesting because it goes from this hard substance, an index card, into this feathery, flaky nothingness, ashes. The symbolism is extraordinarily powerful. As we watch this, it is affecting our other than conscious mind. As we watch this and experience it internally, it's also releasing symbolically as well as energetically as well as emotionally that which we are holding on to. And whereas we may or may not be able to actually forgive the person, what we can get to the point of every single time is releasing that anger, releasing that resentment. And so when we do this type of ceremony, I'm going to call it, it is incredibly powerful. So we'll write a name, or else on one big card, we'll just write every situation that we can think of and allow the emotions to come up. And sometimes they come up like a boiling rage, or tears will flow, or somewhere in between, or combinations of both, depending on the situation. And then we watch it burn, and we watch it burn, and we watch the smoke go out, and it becomes highly therapeutic. As the smoke goes out, so too do the emotions, and so too does the feeling of that gripping, holding on becomes a letting go type of sensation. And as difficult as that is, what most people, and what I certainly have found to be even more difficult, is forgiving oneself. How could I possibly have done that? How could I possibly have said that? Why didn't I do more here? Why did I do anything here? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so we write those situations, perhaps in a different color ink, and write them. Don't type them. Actually, physical writing has an effect on what's called the reticular activating system. And it's a part of our brain. I'll do another video on that down the road. But the act of physical writing is therapeutic. Typing it, or just imagining it or visualizing it, will help, but not nearly as much as doing all of it, starting with the physical writing of it. And again, just as you do this, start to utilize your breathing method. The breathing method is up the back of the spine, down the front of it, up the back and down the front of it. And so what that does is open the chest and allow the chi, allow the energy to flow, and allow this stuck energy to be released. And you may have thoughts that are horrible, that memories that you do not want to experience again, but you are. Just allow them, and be the observer of them. And what if you have a religious or spiritual component to your life, you can ask your your favorite deity, whether it be Jesus, Buddha, what have you. What I'll often do is ask the four archangels: Raphael in front of me, Gabriel behind me, Michael on my right side, and Uriel on my left, to protect me during these moments of great challenge. And so we begin to experience, we begin to look in ourselves. It's almost as if we are looking at a mirror as the flames start to burn, and something occurs, something shifts. Sometimes it's dramatic. Most of the time, it just feels like, whoa, that was heavy duty stuff. But over time, as the days and weeks go by, we start to feel lighter. People will often experience weight loss. People will definitely experience improvement in their overall health. And one of the things, as you are doing this, as you're watching the flames burn, you can get your hand and put it at what's the acupuncture point is called Ren 17. And for those who are watching on YouTube, it's between the nipple line, which is the fourth intercostal space, fourth space in the where the rib is, and we want to go in a counterclockwise direction. So it's as if a clock is on our chest, and we are going from left to right, and it's just soft, very gentle, and it's as if there is a stick of butter here, and we're just slowly going in. And when we're done, we just softly pull out. It's almost like we're pulling out taffy. And for those who can't see this, it's between the nipple line in the center, where the sternum is, kind of near the bottom, where the chest, where we'd normally think the heart would be, in the center of the body, the heart center, the heart chakra. And we want to go in a counterclockwise using just one or two fingers. And it's as if the finger is hot. And the point, which is Ren 17, you could look that up on Google, is a stick of butter, and we're slowly going into it counterclockwise. I know I'm repeating myself, but make sure it's counterclockwise. Counterclockwise releases. When we want to get rid of, when we want to release, when we want to let go, we move counterclockwise, even walking wise. And when we want to attract things into our life, we go clockwise. And so it's as if we're drilling softly, gently, that particular finger inside that butter in a spiral direction. And then when we're finished, we're just in a reverse direction, just slowly pull it out. Be kind with yourself, be gentle with yourself. This is a very, very difficult situation. This is a very, very challenging, I'm going to call it ceremony, experiment ceremony. But it is one that will definitely improve your life, change your life, and allow you to clear space so that the universe can fill it with the health, wealth, and abundance that you deserve. As always, if you have any questions, if you have any topics that you'd like to explore, please let me know. Thank you for listening.